I think a lot of us like to imagine that we could communicate with animals, but there's actually a science and an art to it. And here to tell me about communicating with horses specifically is Jennie Housley. She's with Horseman's Haven Ranch in Pytown, New Mexico, here to talk about the art of natural horsemanship, something that we can actually go out and learn in the next couple of weekends. Jennie, it's nice to see you again.
How are you? I'm good.
Doing very well, thank you. I was delightfully impressed when I had the opportunity to go watch a demonstration of what you and your son teach. Give me an overview of horse sense naturally. That's an unfair question. And give me what you do in 2 days in 3 words or less. No.
Okay, I'll try and keep it short. We try and get people to read what their horse is saying to them and to have the same kind of communication for their horse that their horse has to them. So horses talk in body language mostly, and so if we can understand what they're saying to us and talk in their language and to trying to get them to speak our language, then things work out a lot better. So that's basically what we're trying to get to do. We believe that horses are very smart and that they have a sense of reasoning, and so that if we can understand that they have a heart and feelings like we do, then we can ask them for things in a nice way without trying to be physically overpowering of an animal that weighs 10 times more than we do.
Well, even if it's our dog or our cat, I suspect it's so exciting to imagine, to do more than imagine, that this kind of communication is real. Now, right away, I'm sure that people say, "Oh, horse whispering." What's the difference between the concept of a horse whisperer and what you were teaching?
Okay, horse whispering is something that I've read a few things in the past about people that call themselves horse whisperers, and actually way back before BC, they burned them at the stake because they thought that they were witches. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's not magical. It may appear to be magical, and you're not whispering to your horse. Actually, we want you to talk in whatever tone of voice you would normally use. But it's just the art of communicating with a mammal in a way that they understand. And so when you really say that you're a horse whisperer, which there are a few people who call themselves horse whisperer, you are giving the intonement that you are magical with that animal. And the fact is that anyone can do it, whether you've had horses for 30 years or you just bought one and it's your first ever. It's not magical. It's just understanding the way that they communicate.
Now, what is your background with horses?
Oh my goodness, can't remember not having one.
Okay, I think that covers it. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a lifestyle for you.
It's a lifestyle. Both my husband and I were raised on ranches, and then as we grew up, we had a few years in our lives where we got away from them, and we found that it's a very important thing in our life. I can't imagine not having a dog or not having a horse, not having my husband either, for that fact.
Well, now you have a key player in the form of your son, Steve. He's the one I saw working with you at the demonstration that I witnessed. And you're standing comfortably kind of narrating, here's what he's doing, yada, yada. And I'm watching Steve out there working with an animal with absolutely no tack, no saddle, no bridle, maybe a halter. And tell me some of the things, if you can, that are perfectly common sense to you that some people have no clue what's going on with a horse.
Oh my goodness, where do I start?
If you freeze up here for a second, that's okay. He will nip and tuck until it fits beautifully.
Okay. So let's say that one of the things that we see.
Let me set that up differently.
Okay.
What are some of the most common mistakes that people first come to you with regarding dealing with their horses that you can correct in the first few minutes of dealing with somebody?
Okay. I think the most important thing that we see is that people tend to think that when they love their horses, that it's about being nice all the time and they don't even think about it, but they don't set any boundaries. And so maybe there's a 100-pound woman or a 125-pound woman. And sometimes men do this also, it's not just women. And so the first time you see him, they take this 1,200-pound beast out of the horse trailer, and he comes out, fast and scared, and his head is all high, and they grab him up right underneath his chin, up tight, and halter, and then the horse is running over the top of them with his shoulders pushing into these people and pushing them around as he's trying to get his bearings and figure out where he's at and get calm in his life, because he doesn't want to feel like that. And they're grabbing hold of his halter underneath his chin, saying, oh boy, easy, easy, easy. And you go, does that feel good? And I go, what are you talking about? Well, your 1,000-pound horse just ran into you. Oh, but that happens all the time. It's because he's a thoroughbred, or he's a Tennessee Walker, or he's been on the racetrack, or you know, whatever was with the horse in the past. And we say, well, you know, if you just would take your hand and slide it down that rope about 4 feet and ask him to get back off of you, and then be happy when he does, he might not be on top of you. And it takes about 30 seconds to work.
So you're talking the same language as working with kids, working with dogs, working with any creature. It's just that it's not good to let them run over you, and they can learn if you give them a clue what you need for them to respect you.
That's right. It's about setting a boundary and having expectation.
Now, one of the things I was fascinated by was a horse's ability to read the movement of their of a person's face and body, pointing and giving directions physically. Describe some of those scenarios.
So let's say that you want to send your horse through the gate that you're going through. It's a 4-foot gate, and so a lot of people will just walk through the gate in front of their horse, and you know, if the horse gets scared, where's he going to go? Over the top of you. So we would like to have a person send their horse through the gate. So what we want you to do is just take the line, or if you don't have a line, just point your hand and take his jaw and point him through the gate like that.
So take his jaw. How?
So I'm gonna physically take my finger and point it at his jaw and direct it where I want it to go, and I could be 2 feet away from him, or 4 feet away from him, or 50 feet away from him.
And so the horse is actually going to read it, provided you use your hands carefully and your body carefully. The horse is going to respond in a predictable fashion.
Yes, he will. They read body language. They are, you know, probably the best ever. Probably 4-legged mammals are the best ever at body language. Human beings have to talk like we are now, but if we didn't talk, we could probably get each other to do quite a bit of few things without
just moving around, and we read one another all the time.
And smiling and frowning and things like that.
Let me cover real quickly before I neglect the obvious here, that you will be teaching workshops for the next 2 consecutive weekends. It'll be Saturday and Sunday, January 16th and 17th. Will be Horse Sense Naturally 101, the basics. Then the following Saturday and Sunday, January 22nd and 23rd and 24th, you'll be teaching Horse Sense Naturally Advancing. And this is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day, and this will be in La Union, New Mexico at 1925 Alvarez Road, which is back up along the bluff. People can call you for directions or visit your website. I'll give those at the end of the interview. And what level of horsemanship do you need in order to get the best out of these, get the most out of these workshops?
If you've never done any kind of natural horsemanship, then I would suggest, whether you've been riding for 30 years or 50 years, or just bought your horse, that you come first to the 101, to the first clinic, because all horsemanship is about the basics. So we want to make sure that you get the basics down good, no matter where you're at.
Okay, so this could be for even the first-time horse owner.
Yes.
Good place to start, and then your more advanced students for the next weekend.
For someone who's been exposed to natural horsemanship and has a pretty good idea of how you're going to get your horse to move around, and you need to be able to ride well.
Next level. All right. Thank you so much to my guest today, Jennie Housley. She's with Horseman's Haven Ranch in Pytown, New Mexico, talking about the art of natural horsemanship and the clinics that will be conducted for the next 2 consecutive weekends in La Union, just up the way. For information and precise directions to the clinics, you can call 520-253-0732 or get all the information on the website, which is horsemanhaven.net. That's horsemanhaven.net. Thanks for coming in, Jennie.
Thank you, Monica.
Did I go way over? Yeah, you'll fix it. He's a smart dude. Okay, I hope I got it all in there.
It's really hard to answer a question. That's
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like in 30 seconds or less.